Good morning, Indiana manufacturers. Today, we're going to talk about three shifts that hit you from three angles all at once: your workforce, your energy supply, and a massive new industrial development that will change how talent and money flow across the state. If you're running a manufacturing facility in Indiana, these are not abstract headlines. They shape who you can hire, what you pay for power, and how much margin you have left at the end of the month. So let me give you one number to anchor this: $65 billion. That is the headline investment number tied to the new industrial campus planned for Sullivan. For you, that means someone is about to put a staggering amount of capital to work in the state. That capital is going to attract workers, contractors, suppliers, and public attention. It will open doors for some operations and tighten the screws for others. All right, so let's get into the first story. Novo Nordisk just announced they're eliminating 400 manufacturing positions at their Clayton facility based on a shift in their production strategy. On paper, that's one company making one decision. In reality, it drops 400 experienced manufacturing workers into the Indiana labor pool. Why this matters is simple. If you've been staring at open roles on your floor, this could ease hiring pressure in certain job categories. At the same time, it's a reminder that production strategies can change fast, even for major employers. You cannot assume the regional labor market will look the same 2 years from now as it does today. What I'd watch is how quickly those 400 people get absorbed. Pay attention to local labor market data around Clayton and the surrounding region. If you start seeing qualified applicants from that area hit your inbox, well, that's a real opportunity. Here's a question for your team. How does our current workforce plan account for sudden shifts in regional labor supply, both when talent floods in and when it gets absorbed by somebody else? Second, let's talk about that $65 billion industrial campus planned for Sullivan. The concept is thousands of jobs and a massive new hub of economic activity in the state. That kind of project doesn't just hire people, it drives demand for local suppliers, skilled trades, logistics, and every service that touches industry. Why it matters for you is twofold. On the opportunity side, you can serve the types of industries and technologies this campus attracts. You might be looking at new customers or long-term contracts. On the pressure side, construction, electrical work, and related services do not appear out of thin air. Costs for those inputs can increase across the state when that much capital is competing for the same crews and materials you rely on for expansions and maintenance. What I'd watch is the specific industries that end up on that campus. As those details come out, map them against your supply chain and your hiring needs. Are they pulling from your same trades, your same engineering talent, your same logistics lanes? Here's a question for your team. What opportunities or challenges does a multi-billion-dollar industrial development roughly 100 miles south of us create for our supply chain, our ability to hire, and our future infrastructure projects? Third, power and inputs. NIPSCO has been ordered to keep its Michigan City coal-fired plant online for 3 months longer than originally planned. This is a short extension on a facility that was supposed to come off the system sooner. Why this matters is that it gives you a small buffer on potential energy supply volatility in the short term. But it does not change the long-term direction. Coal plants are still retiring. Generation portfolios are still shifting. Transmission and distribution strategies are still evolving. Over the next 12 to 24 months, you should still expect adjustments in how power is produced and how much you pay for it. What I'd watch is NIPSCO's long-term generation planning and any formal rate proposals they file. If you wait until a new rate hits your bill to pay attention, you have already lost room to prepare for it. Here's the question for your team. Are we actively exploring and budgeting for energy efficiency upgrades or alternative power options that can soften future rate increases in our all-in energy cost and reduce the risk of production interruptions tied to grid volatility? So what does all of this add up to if you're running a manufacturing facility in Indiana? You've got sudden labor changes from a major employer, enormous capital flowing into a new industrial campus, and a power generation decision that only gives you a short-term reprieve. Very short-term. Look, I don't run your operations. That's your job. My job is to translate this mess into clear questions and leverage if you're not going to get it from a press release. So here are the questions I'd bring into your morning huddle today. First, given the new industrial campus and ongoing shifts in the power system, what are the top 3 supply chain vulnerabilities we need to address in the next 6 months? That could be contractors, critical components, transportation lanes, or anything that would stop production if it got constrained. Second, how can we proactively tap into the skilled labor that's being displaced while also preparing for the increased competition for talent that a massive new campus will create? Who should we be talking to so we're not reacting later? And third, what's our current energy contingency plan, and does it account for both short-term issues around grid stability and long-term changes in how power will be generated and priced? Are we just hoping the next rate case is a gentle one? I hope not. Or do we have a concrete plan to use less energy and pay less for what we do use? If this helped you see today's headlines a little bit more clearly, then send it to another Indiana operator who should be ahead of these things instead of reacting to them. I'm Daniel Burke with TEG, and this has been your daily Indiana Manufacturing Brief.